Hey, welcome to Section B of what would you do as an industrialist, a business owner. The first thing you're going to do here is you're going to take the bank account balance at the very end of Section A. After you took and added and subtracted all 5 of the different decisions you made in Section A from that original $1 million, and you either have more or less than $1 million at this point, you need to put whatever dollar figure that is, and there's no wrong answer here, right at the top, because we're going to be using that number as we go through Section B. That original $1 million, you don't have that anymore. You made decisions. You spent money where you thought it should be spent, and you saved money where you thought it should be saved. And because of that, your bank account balance has changed, just as our regular bank account balances change when we spend money and when we save money. So we have that new bank account balance. It's different than our original $1 million, and it's probably different for all of you, and that's totally fine. That goes right at the top here where it says bank account balance after Section A. You're going to put it right there. In Section B, we're going to be talking about wages, how much money you make for doing a job, and benefits, some of the things you get when you work at a job. Let's look at number 5, because it's probably the weirdest one out of all of these. So number 5 here asks you, do you want to pay your workers the lowest amount that you possibly can? So you look around, you see what everybody else is paying, and you are going to pay them exactly that same amount, right? If you do that, you're going to add $200,000 to your account. Remember, that's that original total we just did. And you are going to skip number 6 and number 7. If you say, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm looking around and seeing how these other factories are, and I'm going to make my own decisions, you're going to say no, and you're going to subtract $5,000, and you're going to move down to question number 6 and number 7. Now, I'm going to talk about 6 and 7 here, but if you said yes to number 5, you don't really have to listen to me right now. Number 6 and number 7 deal with skilled versus unskilled labor. Skilled labor is somebody who has been to a college or a technical school. They do kind of the more difficult parts of the job. They know how the machines are run, and if the machines break, they're the ones that know how to fix them. When we talk about unskilled labor, we're talking about somebody who still might be very good at their job, but their job doesn't require any schooling. It's more manual labor. Right, picking stuff up, moving it around, using a hammer to hammer something in. Now, they might hammer that thing in 1,000 times every hour, but that's their job. It's a skill. It takes, practice in doing it, but you didn't require any training to know, take hammer, hit hammer, you're good to go. Right? The same with screwing something in or picking something up and moving it around. That's what we consider to be unskilled labor. Skilled labor, you require some technical certification, right? You know the ins and outs of how everything works. You're kind of maybe the manager of that group on the floor. So you can decide in number 6 and number 7 how much you're going to be paying those people. Do you think they deserve more money or less money? Now remember, 6 and 7 are only there if you said no to number 5. If you said yes to number 5, you skip number 6 and number 7 because you don't care. You're going to pay them all the same amount of money. Skilled, unskilled, it's the same as everybody else. That's what they're getting. Your factory's no different. When we get into number 8 talks about piecework. So for me, Mr. Buer, I get a salary, right? I come in every day. If I work really, really hard or I don't work really hard at all, I get paid the same amount, right? A piecework means that you would get paid a certain dollar figure for however many things it is that you make. So if your job is to hammer a thing in, however many things get hammered in, you get a certain amount of money for that, a couple of pennies, something like that, maybe a couple of dimes, whatever. And so the harder you work, the faster you work, the more money you make. You need to be making a decision about what kind of business you want to make here in number 8, and everybody is doing number 8, regardless of what you said on number 5. In number 9, we need to talk about stocks. So a stock is basically if I took my whole business and I cut it up into pieces like a pie, right? And everybody gets a piece of that pie if they buy into it. And that's what a stock is. We all own a piece of my business, right? And if we do that, that means I'm going to lose, or in this case, you are going to lose sole ownership, right? Where you own the whole pie. It's your business. You're the one that makes the decisions. Or if you decide to cut it up, right, and you lose your sole ownership, you're going to be charging people to buy those stocks, and you're going to make more money. But the business isn't really yours anymore, right? It's partly everybody's. So you have to make decisions on what you want to do there. Number 10 seems pretty self-explanatory. Number 11, pretty self-explanatory. And number 12, pretty self-explanatory. You should be fine there. Once you make all your decisions, you're going to go back up to the top to that dollar figure we said at the end of section A. You're going to add and subtract down through number 12, and we're going to give ourselves a new bank account balance at the very end, and you're going to tell me what the hardest decision out of those questions was. And then I'll see you in section C, our final section.